Welcome to the Rockland Board of Sewer Commissioners, meeting Thursday, August 6th, 2020. Please be advised that this open meeting is being broadcast live and recorded by WRPS for playback on Comcast 14 and Verizon 31. And will also be available on demand within 24 hours of this event at wrpsrockland.com.
I'll make a motion to start the meeting.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approve the minutes of the previous meeting, number 1.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excuse me. So with the minutes, there were a couple of documents that came out of the meeting last month based on the vote. One of them was a new moratorium letter dated June 30th, 2020 that I gave to each of you. And I'd ask that someone make a motion to have that approved.
I got the June 30th letter
Yes,
on the connection moratorium revisions, right?
yes.
Yeah, I make a motion that we accept the letter of June 30th, 2020.
Okay, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So all you
Thank
need
you.
is signatures now, right, Robin?
I actually have another document that came out of that as well. It's the sewer connection and development fees effective July 1st, 2020. And that was voted on at last meeting where we increased the fees. I've updated that document, supplied each of you with a copy, and I would ask that someone make a motion to approve.
Okay, make a motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Number 2, 6 Lydia Square. Gary Stoloff, Senior Project Manager.
Hello, I'm here. And the address is 80 Norman Street. Lydia Square Apartments is the name of the development. Also here with me are the developer, Brian McMillan of Newgate Housing, Mark Major, the project architect, and Dan Merrican, the project civil engineer.
Gary, could I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
I was confused. Is this a 40B?
Yes.
It is. But it's not under the town housing now. It's under a private corporation, private group.
Brian, do you want to speak to that?
Sure. And I apologize, everyone. For some reason, I can't get my camera to work. This is Brian McMillan from Newgate Housing. Yes, it's a privately owned development. It is still 100% affordable, and it's still senior housing 62 plus, funded with DHCD tax credits allocated by DHCD and a number of other agency programs.
Okay.
I'll get a little bit more background. I'm not sure if everybody knows the history. The Rockland Housing Foundation originally put the permit through, and the program they were going to use, it was a HUD program. I think it was a Section 202 program at HUD for elderly developments. The funding wasn't available to Rockland Housing Foundation, so they put the project out in an RFP for a private developer to take over, and that's how we got involved. We ended up using different funding program than the HUD funding program, but it's still largely agency funding through Massachusetts Department of Housing and Community Development.
Have you been to, in front of ZBA with your revised plans?
We have.
You have when was that, the date of that?
Well, we submitted our full design documents to Mr. Rubel, the building commissioner, as representative of the ZBA. So that submission was made in April or May. Those drawings are currently under review. The building commissioner determined that he wanted to have a third-party architect consulting company do the review. We got the first comments back last week. We responded to them this week. The process is going as expected.
I'll add a little bit to that, Gary. That's really a building department review, almost a spec review of the plans. The zoning board has reviewed the plans and approved the final plans as part of what they call a notice to proceed letter.
That was back in April of 2011, correct?
No, it was this year.
Year?
Yeah.
Okay, the question I have is that the waivers that were granted back in 2011, are they still valid?
Yes.
So Walter, I don't know if Walter, you or Ronnie know that they've waived all the sewer development fees.
No, I don't. No.
No. Walter, did you know?
No.
So the sewer department basically is going to be out over $440,000 of development fees.
The fees were waived by the Board of Appeal.
That's correct, under a 40B ruling.
Right.
Well, I just wanted the guys to know that, you know, where the sewer department stands on that. The only letter I have from about waiving them is an email dated June 26th from Attorney Galvin. Do you have another letter that you could give to the sewer commissioners just so we have for our records regarding that waiver?
Yeah, what you'll see is the comprehensive permit order of conditions. That's where it appears. So
No, I've seen that, but I just wanted the guys to see something, and hopefully there'd be something on our files at the sewer department, so we have some, you know, background on it. So the reason why we waived the fees, or had to waive the fees.
Well, Robin and I, at the very beginning of this process, you know, had several conversations about this. She scoured your records. Of course, we wouldn't have access to any of your records, but what Robin found was a letter that she provided to us approving the connection. I think that was dated in 2009 or 2011. It was 2011. I think the first application was 2009. I think Robin can speak to that.
Hi, I did have several, I'm sorry, I can't turn on the volume on this phone. That's as low as it goes, but I do have some documentation of letters from that time period that you referenced, 2008, 2009. I reviewed them with John Laughlin, who was the superintendent at the time. We also reviewed the comprehensive permit where the fees were waived by a special permit through the building department. And it was reviewed by Attorney Galvin. And I guess that original, in that correspondence from Attorney Galvin, you can see that the original waiving of the fees stands.
Yes, I just want to make sure we had something on the file.
So we have the comprehensive permit and we have the attorney's opinion on it. Do you need something further?
No. Like I said, all I wanted to make sure that, you know, we had something covering us.
Yeah, that email from Robert Galvin was dated Friday, June 26, 2020, made out to Brian and Ben from Galvin. It does say that the fees are waived, but it also says that that all final plans must comply with technical specifications and standards of the sewer department. So, you know, if we needed upgrade or technical assistance on that project, we could, they would have to comply with that.
Right.
I'm not sure if all the fees were waived. Did you want to speak to permit fees, David?
Well, yes, and as far as developmental fees were waived and remediation fees were waived, the standard permit fee will still, it's still applicable on that. And then, like I said, if we're requiring some technical specifications or change it and to meet our standards on the sewer department, we could ask for those as well. So, but the developmental fees are $330,000 and the remediation was $114,400. So those are waived. So.
But we will realize the $4,400.
Yes, we're allowed to for the general permit. Yeah.
So the general permit is 4,400.
4,400. That's correct.
That's not a problem, the general permit.
All right, and then also looking at the site. So I'm sure you're familiar with the high water over there. You know, with the
Dave, you're breaking up.
Yeah, David, you're frozen.
Oh, now good.
Yep.
Now.
Oh, sorry. All right, sorry. So I guess you're probably familiar with the high water table over there. So we're looking at a couple options that I'd be bringing up to the Board of Commissioners tonight. One would be now my question is it still considered an elderly complex or just a 40B affordable housing?
It's age restricted, 62 and older.
Okay, so one of the things that I would be asking for, and then hopefully I'll have the commissioners, and then we'll see if we can comply with this, would be a grinder station on site before we tie into the 8-inch main on Norman Street. That one that will allow us to keep the the items such as wipes or products from entering our system. There's an 8-inch main there, and that goes right out directly to the Concord Street, which directly goes to our plant. So I believe you're familiar with that. Every town with the sewer department is having the same problem with those, with the disposables going into the system. So we're also looking into the ejector station over on Butternut, because we feel that with the high water table, and there's also infiltration over there, that maybe we could look at updating that system over to a different type of system as well. So I don't know if that's something we could look at together, and then hopefully we can get the board's approval on that. So maybe we could look at that as far as engineering. I'm not sure who's the general engineer on the project.
The civil engineer
Yes.
is Dan Merrican. He's on the call.
Okay. So maybe at some point we could meet out on that and go over those two items.
I got a question for Rick and Ed. With this, Lydia Square and Concord Street, do you see any bottlenecks, any issues?
Repeat that, Chuck, you were breaking up.
With Concord Street coming online with this. Concord
Stay
Street,
here.
We can't hear you, Chuck.
No.
It sounds like there's a wave going by.
no, I don't have a. Okay, how about now?
Much better.
Okay, no, I was wondering with Lydia Square and Concord Street, do you foresee any bottlenecks as far as issues? I can understand Butternut.
Well, I think David brought up a good point, putting in the grinder station there, especially where that development, the Lydia Square one, is going to be going into that 8-inch main on Norman Street, where that's already a low flow line going right into the main line that comes to the plant. And I think that that's something that should definitely be looked into to avoid blockages on that street alone.
And Dave, were you thinking of having the contractors look into footing that bill?
Yes, yeah, so that will be an on-site facility from what I understand what some of the other towns are requiring. I looked into another development over in Norwell. So a lot of the towns are requiring that now, especially where you have Ed and Rick, that's the 30-inch line that goes to the 33, correct? So that, and where we would be afraid of the bottleneck on that 8-inch line before you get into the 30-inch. And then that directly goes right to the plant. So there's no grinder, no pump station to try to pull out the solids at that point. That directly goes to the plant. So, so we were looking at that. That would be an online. That would also allow the contractor to run the grinder pump pipe, 2-inch line underneath the culvert. So you'd have a little bit more. They wouldn't have to drop the sump down on that sewer manhole that they would be proposing out by the street. You could literally go underneath the culvert at a high area and do that, the proposed manhole at the end of Norman Road, Norman Street.
All right, that's cool.
Just real quick, I think David also brought up a good point about the already high water table over in that area. And the already very high INI that we do have at the Butternut lift station, which we see an increase of 15 to 20% in flow already just during wet season months. So I just think that should be noted.
Gary, do you foresee any, this is out of our realm of responsibility, but have you had any feedback from the abutters worried about flooding? Because I know some of them do over there.
Brian, do you have any insight on that? You're muted, by the way, Brian.
Yeah, some concerns were raised when we were doing our wetland permitting. I think we made quite a few changes to address some of those concerns. The project does satisfy the DEP stormwater standards as required. Dan can probably speak to the technical aspects of that better than I can.
Dan, you're muted.
Sure. Yeah, we have a comprehensive stormwater management system designed in accordance with state standards and requirements that accommodate all of our stormwater runoff from the site.
Have you got a stormwater plan submitted?
Yeah, stormwater plans, drainage calculations have been submitted and reviewed and approved.
Another thing to know is that we're in the process of raising the grade of the site. How much are we bringing it up, Dan? 3.5 feet?
Yeah, in that territory.
Yeah, around that. So our sewage lines are going to be out of the water table because we've raised the grade of the site. I assume the concern is that drain lines leak and groundwater gets into them and you end up treating groundwater, and that's expensive for nothing. I think that is unlikely in our situation because of all the fill we're bringing in.
Right. So the one issue that we were talking about was over on Butternut. It's about 100 yards away. It's on the western side of your the proposed facility. So we'd have to do some engineering on that because the wetlands bumps right up to it, which it originally has. And once you add the hardscape there, I believe Ed and Rick, we talked about it. There's an innate amount of inflow and infiltration over at that site already, and we believe it's going to go into that injector station even more. I mean, the infiltrations, we believe it's going to be a lot more because the water table in that area is high as it is. So if we're adding to that at all, so we would have to look at that. So I'm not sure how we can address that, or again, maybe we can meet out on site, take a look at it. So.
We're happy to meet out on site.
All right.
Will that be all?
Yeah, I guess I would make a motion that we table this for further discussion with the contractors, between Dave and the contractors.
Okay, I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Gentlemen, it's Brian McMillan again. We have already, as a 40B, the zoning board provides our approval under the comprehensive permit. We're really just supposed to be going through a spec review at this point, almost like a contractor's permit. Our contractor is ready to put sewer pipes in. Is there, what we really were hoping for is sign off from the sewer so that we could, get our pipes put in. We're not ready to connect at this point yet, but we really need to keep our construction moving forward.
Well, in all fairness, I don't know about the other guys, but I just got the plans. I just received them the other day.
And I thought it was my understanding that the connections were approved back in, what, 08, 09?
Yeah, that was that was our working assumption too, that the connection permits were already approved.
Yes, but what specification, what design plan? The current one?
Well, it couldn't have been because we did the current one years later, right? So,
Well, I understand that. What has changed? You're already at the elevation.
The original plan, wasn't our plan. Dan, I don't know if you remember offhand some of the details of that, but I think that's why the spec review is part of what we're supposed to talk to you about, so that we can, so that you can look at the specs and we can make sure that our design complies with design requirements.
The overall design of the site hasn't really changed very substantially with respect to the sewer connection. It's proposed to be a gravity sewer connection to the gravity main in Norman Street.
Can I just say something, please? And Gary, you'll remember this. When you first came onto the project, there was some correspondence from the previous developer that they were asked to come in front of the sewer commissioners board with plans. That didn't happen. Then you came on board. There weren't any plans in front of the sewer commission until we got the plans that you gave us last week. So when you're comparing the previous plans to the current plans, the sewer commission never actually saw the older plans. I just wanted to put that out there for clarification.
the older plans or the newer plans?
The older plans, the only plans they've seen are the ones you supplied this past week.
Right, and we don't have access to the older plans. They were submitted by a different entity, a different Rockland Housing, not us.
Well, again, the commission just received these, Tuesday or Monday? I don't know, I'd like some, well, the last moratorium we passed, we said we'd need 1 month to review. We don't really have to take a vote till next month. But I haven't even really gotten into the review of the plans. I don't know if Walter or Ronnie's looked at them.
I've looked at them today only, just today. But I think it's a good idea about the chopping system there,
The grinder? Oh, yeah,
the
absolutely.
grinding system, yeah.
Well, I make a motion, we table this to next month, till we at least have a chance to go over the plans.
But see if you can get a copy of the old plans.
The old plans aren't valid. That's what we
Yeah.
did the other day.
You think we can do this a little quicker than a month? We each get a copy of this plan for each of us?
Yeah, I have a copy already.
I just got mine. I haven't really looked at it. I just was checking over cursory look.
We have a copy for you, Walter, as well.
Well, it shouldn't take a month to review the plan.
And nope,
Well, how much time you want, Walter?
Well,
You're
maybe-
reviewing everything else. Should be able to review this pretty quick.
there's only a page or two that we should be concerned about anyway.
Right.
All right, why don't we just get together next week?
Okay,
I'll call Walter next week about it, whether yeah or no. I just want time to look at it. I could look at it over the weekend.
Okay,
that sounds good.
all right, we'll do that.
Okay, well, how about we get back to Walter by Wednesday and he can contact the developer.
Okay,
Wednesday.
Got a vote?
yep,
I'll second it. All in favor?
aye,
So next Wednesday, we'll call Walter.
I'm wondering if I could make a request. We applied for a trench permit to sort of understand where everything is in the street. The drawings aren't always perfect. And there were significant restrictions put on that trench permit by the Rockland, the chief of the sewer department. We'd certainly, you know, we're trying to lay out pipe. We're fully mobilized on site. We're behind the 8 ball here, and I don't mean to use that as an excuse, but if we were able to do this at our risk, in other words, that if a week from now or 2 weeks from now you say I want it done differently, we will correct it immediately. But we're trying to organize a precast culvert to arrive on site that contains a sewer line and a water line and everything else. And if we could just have a little bit of flexibility in the field, again, at our risk, we'd be very grateful.
Wouldn't that be a risk if if we're asking for a grinder station and we're all in agreement on the grinder station on site, the design specs would change on that going out to the street.
Understood. Again, it's at our risk. Dan, you know, this may be the wrong forum for this, but what does a grinder station look like? What does it mean to the development? I've never installed one.
Well, it sounds like you want a pump system installed with grinder pumps. So you know, in theory, if we went ahead and installed the gravity main under the culvert crossing, which is the critical area, that could be used as a sleeve if the system ended up becoming a pump system.
That's correct.
Okay. And the pump grinder system would be on the building side of the culvert, not on the Norman Street side of the culvert, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, we have room on the Norman Street side of the culvert, so we'd have to look into that.
We wouldn't want it on the Norman Street side. We'd want it on private property.
Well, we
a
own
good chunk of the area between the end of Norman and the stream is private property.
is a private property.
Okay.
It looks like it's a street, but it's actually on the parcel, the private parcel.
With all fairness, I think it gives more warrant to waiting till next Wednesday till Dave and you get together on site and hash out the final details. Basically asking the sewer commission to give you a blank check, and what happens, happens.
Yeah, are you looking just to get the culvert in, and then you would get a couple of boring holes in the culvert to adapt for the water and sewer lines? Is that what you're looking for?
I'm sorry, you gurgled out there a bit.
Sorry, I said, are you looking to install the culvert and then bore out a couple holes, one to adapt for and one also to adapt for water?
Yes, that's right. And the water department has given us leeway to lay the pipe but not connect it. In other words, we can open up a trench, we can lay a pipe, we can get it at the right grade, we can get, figure out where we're connecting to the main, but we can't connect it until we actually we deal with a few things with the water department. We were hoping for a similar kind of arrangement with the sewer, but you guys were more strict and less flexible than water was. And what basically I'm asking for the same thing we asked from the water company.
Chuck, what do you think? Let them go ahead with the culvert until pending our decision?
Well, you know, at this point, I'd say it would be, I don't know what the hell's going on with this. Well, I still would say hold off until Dave could get out there and talk to them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Monday,
All right, well, but, you know, we'll make ourselves available for you, David. Dan ought to be there, and you want to do it Monday morning?
Yeah, Monday's fine. We could do it Monday.
Say 9 o'clock Monday?
9 a.m. Monday? Mhm.
Dan Merrickin, does that work for you?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
Dave,
Yes.
would you mind if I sat in on that, or?
No? Any commissioner that wants to sit on it is more than welcome. And Ed, if Rick, I mean, if you guys have any input on it as well.
They're not hurt if Rick show up.
Going on, I'm looking into it.
You know, they'd have Dave, Rick and Ed would have a good explanation for him for the grinder, what's entailed on it.
Yeah, they'll just have to go by the specs, by how many bathrooms are available in the UL. And then I know they were talking about, you know, maybe at some point doing a second building, so they may want to adapt around that, or they'd have to upgrade the station.
Okay, do you want to move along? And
What we say, why don't we do this? Why don't we wait till after Monday and Dave calls Walter and make a decision how we want to go then?
Thank you, that's a reasonable accommodation.
All right, I'll guys have Monday at 9 a.m.
yeah,
We'll see you then, and the Lydia Square team can sign off.
all right, thank you, gentlemen.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you for
everyone.
your time.
Thank you.
yeah. Okay,
What is with this connection?
now number 3. Nope.
This is a terrible connection. I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of static coming on.
On yours, yeah, well, I am too. I don't know if you can hear me clear.
Can we just make sure that the people that have, can we just make sure that the people that have called in on the phones, that their mics are muted? It looks like all their mics are still active. I think that's where a lot of the feedback's coming from.
Could we ask to use, I can't get
I'm going to second that. Could we please get the people whoever's not speaking to mute their microphone? We've got noise. It sounds like one person typing, and then we've just got random mics being open. It's making it hard to understand anything.
I think it's coming from the call-in users.
That seems better.
Okay.
Thank you.
The third item, the only reason I asked for the elementary school to be put on is this is a general awareness on the flow issue. Because what I was looking at is with the new school, I don't know if Walter, you and Ronnie are aware that there are conversations. This new school was supposed to take in all 4 elementary, but they're also thinking of holding open and using the McKinley and the Eston school. So that's going to mean additional flow. So what I've come up with between the schools, Concord Street, Lydia, possibly Pond Street, we're looking at another 75,000 gallons a day. Now that's without considering Park Street, Howard Street, and the Harmon Golf Course condos. So the only reason I put that on there is so you guys are aware of what's coming at us real quick.
Yep. How soon is that project gonna start?
Last I heard, Ronnie, was that Dave would probably be the best to say. Last I heard was spring of next year. But I know Park Street and Howard Street are going to be other 40B projects.
Correct. Yeah.
But that's gonna be, that's gonna put us up probably close to 150,000 gallons, 130,000 gallons of additional flow a day. And like I said, that's just an awareness check. So, you know, we got to keep these flows in mind because they're starting to build up. And again, not to keep beating on the drum, but we're going to need some capacity when we start an upgrade. So that's the only reason I wanted that on there.
All right.
Okay. Number 4, Dave Taylor, Superintendent update.
Yeah, your mic's not on, Dave.
All right, sorry about that. I said, just to give you an update on the school project. So I met out with Chris Racine and a bunch of the engineers that are out on site a couple times already. One of the issues was the sewer, obviously. So the update on that, if you saw the plans, would be they'd be exiting the property on the southwest side and tying into it. There's an existing structure over there that would be going from what I understand, talking with Rick and Ed, we'd be going from an 18-inch to a 21-inch pipe over by the Prospect, going along Reed's Pond. That would be going to a 24-inch on John Dunn, and then over to the 30 on Concord, and then enter into the 33 at the wastewater treatment plant. So looking at it, doesn't look like there would be any issues. I looked at also a grinder station there, but where that's an elementary school, we don't really feel the need of that, you know, because it's going to be from fourth grade down. So the drainage over there, they met all the drainage requirements, and then actually have 4 subsurface stations and 3 retaining ponds. So they meet all the requirements as far as the 1-year, 5-year, 10-year, and 100-year storms. So, but that's just a little update. They're tweaking some of the sewer because we were asking to update that structure where it would be exiting the property and then going over to 18-inch. So they're tweaking that now, and then they'll be at the next meeting. So that's the update on that.
Are they going to be going over an existing pipe?
No, so all the piping on that, so they'll be exiting the building at multiple areas of the school, but the main line and, you know, they have grease traps. If you're looking at the building to the west side, the main line leaving the area will go underneath the proposed turf field, and then out to the corner, I believe there's the manhole along where the old tracks was and where the rail trail was. And then that would be going down Plain Street to Prospect.
Will the sewer department or highway department, or I should say the sewer department, the water department, will they need access points to get those pipes?
No, because it essentially the Memorial Park actually exits the same area now.
Okay.
So they'd be tying into where the original was. Water would be coming in off of Lower Reed Street. But it shouldn't affect, I mean, talking with Rick and Ed, it shouldn't affect us because you'd be taking Jefferson offline, Memorial Park would be offline. Eston's going to switch over to just kindergarten and preschool, so that shouldn't be an issue coming down Summer to the plant. So it didn't look like there'd be any issues. They're meeting all the requirements with grease traps off the area. So that's about it.
Oh, thank you for that update.
All right.
Thank you.
So we just, I just want to give you an update on everything that's been going on down here. And then Rick and Ed can probably touch base when they come up on, you know, the contractual things as far as dealing with the contractors for some of the articles. But we just finished up, Robin, we finished up all the end of the year paperwork for 2020 fiscal. We've been marking out the dig safes at a bunch of different locations. There's a ton of road work going on. We're looking to update the dig safe program because right now the individual contractors are calling us up. So we're going to try to get online with dig safe. So we get called from dig safe as opposed to getting called from individual contractors, because it could be a liability issue down the road with some of the bigger projects coming up. we went out, I think it was what, the second week, Ed, for the maintenance at the Hingham South pump station. Is that correct? About 4:30 in the morning there. I've been doing all the grease trap inspections at between 5 and 5:30 in the morning, so it doesn't interfere with a regular day for me. So that's been going well. So we had a little backup on that. So we're getting caught up on that. Met with
Hey, before you go any further, weren't the grease trap Suez in the new contract, Rick?
excuse me?
Wasn't the grease trap Suez's responsibility under the new contract?
No, not as far as inspections, not outside the building.
Okay.
They would just be maintaining the pump stations and all the infrastructure falls under us. Correct in saying, Rick and Ed?
That's correct.
No.
I believe it was to assist is how it was worded.
Yeah. And then, so we've been doing the grease traps, getting caught up on that. We met with Wright Pierce on the evaluation plans of the wastewater treatment plant. That was a lot to take in. I thought that went well. We met with Hallam ICS on the digester boiler, and Ed did the tour on that. Ed's been running tours down here like Disney World right now. So, and then Highland Power, we started the project on that on Country Way. The generator, we've been lowly staffed over at Highway, so we'll pull that generator out. It's been disconnected. From what I understand, we'll pull that out, and then they'll be coming in to install that. So, and then just meeting with the engineers over at the school project, which is quite a lot with the drainage. It's pretty light as far as the sewer, which we went over. And then the only other thing we have going on is we're looking, EPG is going to come out within the next couple of weeks and look at our documentation that we have as far as the as-built for the sewer. And they're going to try to correlate that with our GIS system that both John had and I had. So if you plug in a house, it'll pop up and the as-built will pop up. So we can kind of get rid of the archaic plans on the table that's been in there for probably 20 years. So, but it'll, and then we'll have that in the archives, and if we need to do paper copies or hard copies. So that's pretty much it. So I'll let Rick and Ed, when they get into their updates, go. So
One quick question before we go back to that, Dave, this is probably for Ed and Rick. Once you do the boiler in at the digester, you may want to check with your people. I think that will open us up for an air emissions permit. You want to make sure that we don't have to do that.
Rick, you want to touch base on that? Because I think that was brought up at the meeting as well, right? And then I think that would be an issue where it was just an update close to the spot, right?
Yeah, they had suggested that whereas it's a replacing kind, that it may not be an issue. I think it would be up to the board to decide whether or not they want to notify DEP on the switching out the equipment or not. But my understanding was, whereas we're not changing the design at all, we're just essentially pulling one piece of equipment out and putting another one in its place.
But it's apples for apples as far as CFMs and all that?
That's how they should be sizing it, yeah. I mean, but
That would almost be considered
I would say if we don't notify them, if it's apples for apples, we don't notify them.
right, and that decision for the board.
Well, the only other thing I was thinking, we're probably, when we get into an upgrade, we are gonna have to notify them about a lot of things. Maybe just let that one slide until that point. Dave?
Okay.
Yeah.
Rick?
Okay.
George?
Yep.
Suez? Give us an update on the flow.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Like Dave says, he touched on a lot of my subjects today. Dave and I and Ed have been working really well together in this short time frame that Dave's come aboard. Suez has ordered the new Old Country Way generator. Should be in probably 6 to 8 weeks. And once that comes in, the installers will obviously put that in the building. Right, like Dave said, we had the kickoff meeting. Everything went well. Ed's given them a lot of information. As of right now, they don't need anything further from Suez now. As far as the digest, again, like Dave said, Hallam, we had a great meeting, and right now they're working on their specs.
Breaking up, what are you saying?
I just said, right now, Hallam is working on the specs right now. The other item I have is going to upgrade our line system.
Say that again?
Basically, it's a batching system.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah.
1 second. Either or Walter, sorry, because you guys are in the same room. If you just mute your microphone, Walter, we won't get the feedback from Rick.
You get that?
What was that?
Shut your
Mute.
hold on, Dave, please. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So like I said, Dave and I have been working really well together during this brief time. So the next thing we're actually working on, we're going to update our hydrated line batching system. It's so archaic that we can't find parts for it. So we've decided to go with a company called GM Controls. And it's basically going to be completely remotely automated. The line will come on and off even when we're not here to batch the system. The price was $13,872. We gave them the go-ahead today to start that project. The other thing I talked about was the sludge. Last month we talked about the 69% increase in sludge price. Well, I've got good news for the board. That price ended on 7/31. Effective 8/1, we're back to the old price. So I'll have one more invoice to submit for the overage and sludge, and we're back to normal, which is a good thing. The only thing else I got, as far as the plant, I don't have much going on in the plant. I do have a personnel I'd like to bring up to the board. Sean Chaponis, who's been with me for well over 20 years, has decided to retire. This will probably take effect sometime in September. I've already gone ahead and posted a position internally and on Indeed. So if there's anyone looking for a job, it's a excellent ground floor opportunity. Working with Suez. All you have to do is either check out Indeed or go on mysuezwater.com and type in Rockland, and the job will actually pop up for anybody who is actually looking for a job. Great field to work in, and that's really all I have.
You didn't try talking him into holding off till after we get the study done, did you?
Yeah. Yeah, he's
the knowledge.
Yeah, I know. He's willing to work a little bit with me. You know, he's not going to just up and leave Chuck. He's willing to work part-time until we can fill this position. And like I said, I've already started to get candidates. We're just, hopefully we'll be getting some we'll start the interviewing process.
The candidates you're looking at, do they have licenses?
No, actually, I'm looking for, as per the contract, they'll have 18 months to get a grade 3.
Oh, right, OIT.
Yep, OIT right now.
Well, that's too bad. He was a valuable asset for you.
Yep.
A lot of knowledge.
Yep.
Dave, have you, on that generator that Rick was talking about, can you use any of the parts down at the highway? Or maybe the fire department?
No, it's archaic. I mean, no one wants it. Everybody's in better shape than that. We would probably, I've reached out to Doug, so we typically will put things out for surplus over. So we would probably put it aside, put it out for surplus, and then whatever money's coming from that will go into the sewer department. So that's what we looked at. So we do that with vehicles, old plows, whatever the town has, and then we'll put it up there. It's right out there for people to bid on. Somebody might just buy it just for the scrap. So,
Rick, you don't see us having to change the contract with Sean. You're just going to be apples for apples, right?
That is correct.
And you'll just work his hours, so.
Yep.
Okay.
What's that now? Yeah. I'm sorry, what was that again? Yes. Yes, we are. I'm all set. You got me, you.
Here we are. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Number 7.
No, the 6, the study update.
Wait, who was doing that?
As far as the study update, we have the kickoff meeting.
It doesn't say. I didn't.
Doesn't?
You're all set on that?
What, the study? Well, I guess the only thing pending that, Dave, is they need to know what the status of the contract is.
We haven't received anything from Wright Pierce yet.
I believe they sent it to Chris, Kenny, and Doug.
Oh, yeah.
No one's touched base with us on down here on it yet. They haven't received anything that Doug's told me about. I had a meeting with him yesterday about the school.
How do you want to do this? You want me to give him a call, or do you want to?
No, I can reach out to him. I mean, they're looking at that grinder station for us as well. So.
All right, no.
Yeah.
All right, if you just ask, because I spoke with Kevin today, and he was looking for that.
Yeah, we haven't received. Are you sure they sent it? Because we haven't received anything at town hall.
No, I just spoke with him around 2. He said he asked me to ask you what the status was.
Okay. I can check into that with see if they received it up there with Galvin.
Not Bob Galvin, Dave Kenny was Chris.
Oh yeah, it's Kenny. Yeah. I was thinking Galvin with the school on Lydia Square.
Okay, you all set, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 7, chair election for 2020 to 2021.
I had put that in there. That's for now. We might as well leave status quo if you want. That was just an update to. It's got to be done yearly. So Walter, you're going to stick on. You can stick on. You can handle it.
Yes, I'm staying.
You're gonna stick on, Walter?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You got it.
You second that, Ron?
Yep, I'll
I
second.
second that.
All in favor?
All
Aye.
in favor? Aye. Superintendent's advertisement draft, we're going to postpone that and table it for now.
To when? I thought we said it'd go out in September.
Yeah, we'll have to come up with a time on that. Maybe we'll have that by Monday we're going to revise the plans next Wednesday. Maybe we'll have an answer on that postponement by Wednesday.
What is the question on the postponement, or what's the reason?
We're just tabling it for now.
Well, I'd like a reason why it's being tabled. At whose request?
Mine.
And your reason?
Well, for one thing, Dave is going to be here for a while, and there's no rush on this. And we're waiting for a draft from Stacy.
I thought we agreed to do the draft. We talk about it.
What's that?
I thought we said we'd do the draft, talk about it, and get it going in September. We're going to need time to interview candidates, get a list of people. Dave's contract, and he can fulfill it till December, but it's still going to take a month or 2 to screen people.
It shouldn't take a month.
Excuse me?
I said it shouldn't take a month.
By the time you get the ad out, you get enough people, It's not gonna be like last time. I mean, we're gonna get a qualified candidate. We've got a serious upgrade coming up.
I know. Like I said, Wednesday,
Are you calling for a vote? Or are you just
Pardon?
making a decision?
we can vote on it by Wednesday.
And,
Okay,
okay,
make a motion by Wednesday.
what are we expecting Wednesday? I want it on the record.
Advertisement draft. I have to see the draft
You've got it.
and
You've
then
got
we'll
the
come up,
draft ad. You can
we'll
add.
talk about a time period.
The ad was taken directly from the current job description.
There's no changes in that current draft that we have?
Nope. That's
I don't
taken
believe
right
so.
out of the job description. That's on file at town hall.
Well, I guess let Walter talk with Stacy and let them come up with a final draft. A few more days aren't gonna hurt.
Oh, a few more days is not gonna hurt, but you know, I want this out in the open. I want everyone to see that draft.
Well, if we get together next Thursday to vote on the other thing, we can vote on this too.
Yeah,
Wednesday, I thought we said.
Wednesday.
Or Wednesday, whatever. Yep. Okay, I make the motion.
For Wednesday. And we can vote on it then?
Yes.
I want to see the draft prior to Wednesday, so I know what I'm voting on.
I'll
Excuse
see if I can get that.
Ron, what was the motion that you just made? I couldn't hear it.
To wait for the final draft next Wednesday, so we can look at it and vote on it.
I'm sorry, but one of the call-in users that just called in, if you could just mute your line, please.
And you're going to distribute that draft prior to the Wednesday meeting, correct? Walter,
What's that?
you're going to distribute the copy, a draft, prior to Wednesday's meeting, so we get an opportunity to look at it, correct?
Am I misunderstanding something? But I thought he was reviewing the draft with Stacy on Wednesday.
I don't know what we're doing. I thought we we're going to vote on it Wednesday. And I don't want to vote on anything until I have a chance to read it.
Well, I'll see when I can get a copy for you. And then we'll decide on, we'll get together on it.
As long as it meets the draft of the job description that's on file. Because we are going to find a qualified candidate, be it Dave or someone, who has experience. You're not going to turn in a $60 million project or new sewer system over to no one with zero experience.
And are you qualified to choose a person?
I think I've got 30 years experience doing it, but I'll
Yeah.
be more than happy to have you sit in. I've had a license, Walter. Have you run a wastewater treatment?
I know you let us all know that.
How did you pick the last one? That'd be a great answer.
Yeah, but you're not gonna get one. Me.
If I were you, I wouldn't give one.
Yeah.
Why don't we move on? The meeting format change was recommended by Doug.
Okay, we're gonna table this
Table what?
for now.
What, the meeting format?
We'll go to the approval of drain layers license.
Okay.
Okay, so the drain layer license, I had someone,
Pardon?
it's Guidelines Seal and Save Inc.
Yeah,
111 Payson Ave in Rockland. It's a renewal. They've supplied all of their documentation and their payment. They've done work in Rockland before, so it's a renewal. Could I ask approval?
I vote to approve.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 10, meeting format change.
The reason I put that on was I had a discussion with Doug Lapp prior to this COVID breakout. And he says, where we are talking a significant amount of money in an upgrade, it's best to keep the public involved and open all the way through this. So he had made mention of the time in having the meetings tape recorded, even prior to this. So I guess what it would mean is that we'd have to meet up at town hall so they could be recorded in the future once this COVID thing lifts. Right now they're being recorded, but I was thinking 4 o'clock is too early for most people that are working. So we may, once we start getting into the nitty gritty of this upgrade and what it's going to be entailed, since it's going to be a blow to the taxpayer, that we move this probably to 7 o'clock at night and have them recorded at town hall. I mean, it's nothing for a vote, but we've got to start thinking about it.
We'd have to get the opinion from a lot of people here, and, you know, a lot of people, some people that work here have an hour and a half, 2-hour ride home. If it comes down to the point where we'd have to have a meeting later, we probably could, but I'm for just having the meeting at 4 o'clock for now.
If we have it at 4, I have no problem with that, but I think they should be continued to be taped for documentation purposes. I mean, $60 million is a heavy blow. And there are going to be, there are going to be an awful lot of questions asked. So it's food for thought.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah. For now, we'll do it at 4. Is that all?
Make
Everyone
a
else?
motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, stay healthy, everybody.